A guy spilled his drink on me and said, "Buy better clothes, peasant," at a rooftop party. Then he showed up to his Monday job interview where I was the hiring manager. The Friday evening rooftop party was supposed to be relaxing after a brutal week of back-to-back interviews for our senior developer position. My company, NextForge Solutions, had been hunting for the right candidate for 3 months, and I'd personally screened 47 applicants without finding anyone who fit our team culture. I stood near the railing nursing a gin and tonic, watching the city lights flicker below while my friend Caitlin talked about her latest dating disaster. The venue was packed with tech industry people, startups mixing with established companies, everyone trying to network without looking like they were networking. I wore my usual off-duty outfit, faded jeans and a plain gray Henley that had seen better days, comfortable clothes that let me blend into the background after spending all week in business casual. A group of loud voices erupted near the bar, and I glanced over to see 5 guys in expensive suits laughing too hard at jokes that probably weren't funny. The tallest one, maybe 6'3" with perfectly styled blonde hair and a watch that cost more than my car payment, was holding court like he owned the place. His voice carried across the rooftop as he described closing some massive deal, gesturing with his drink and clearly trying to impress everyone within earshot. Caitlin rolled her eyes and said something about finance bros always being the loudest people at any party, and I agreed while checking my phone for the 100th time that evening. Monday morning would bring 3 final interviews for the developer position, and I'd been reviewing resumes all week trying to find red flags I might have missed. The tall guy from the bar started moving through the crowd, his entourage following like pilot fish around a shark, and I shifted position to avoid their path. But rooftop parties have limited space, and he was heading straight toward the railing where Caitlin and I stood. His group surrounded us before I could suggest moving, their conversation so loud it drowned out the ambient music. The tall guy was still talking about his deal, mentioning figures that seemed inflated and dropping names that were probably meant to impress. Caitlin tried to continue our conversation, but gave up when one of his friends literally stepped between us to get a better view of the city. I backed up against the railing to give them space, but the tall guy turned suddenly with his drink held loosely in one hand, and the entire contents of his whiskey sour splashed across my chest. The cold liquid soaked through my Henley immediately, ice cubes bouncing off my stomach before hitting the ground. For a moment, everyone in the immediate vicinity went quiet, and I looked down at my ruined shirt, then back up at him. He stared at me like I'd materialized out of nowhere, his face showing annoyance rather than apology, and I waited for the automatic sorry that should follow accidentally dumping a drink on someone. Instead, he looked me up and down with obvious disdain, taking in my wet discount clothing and unimpressive appearance. His friends were watching now, sensing entertainment, and he played to the audience. He said in a voice loud enough for half the rooftop to hear that maybe I should buy better clothes if I wanted to hang out at places like this. The word peasant came out of his mouth with such casual cruelty that I actually